Hello and welcome back to Treetop Health and, of course, Project Hospital. Now, before we get into the bulk of the episode, let me tell you about what happened off camera. We did leave the game to run until the morning of day 21, where all of the patients we had in the HDU and the general ward in our orthopedic department have left and given us their money. We currently have $184,000 in the bank, which is less than I want. So I know I promised you guys cardiology, but I don't actually think we're going to go that way. Someone instead suggested that we open a infectious diseases clinic, and I honestly think that is the smartest choice for us at the moment for a couple of reasons. The first is because that unlocks Happy Life as an insurance provider, and that is going to give us some extra money in terms of the objectives that we can complete. The other reason is because the infectious diseases clinic does not require operations. So we don't need to worry about building a second or a third operating theater to get that up and running. So I think it's going to be a little bit cheaper in that regard. Thirdly, I haven't done it before, so I think it could be interesting to do. But before we get into the bulk of building all that out, of course, we need to go into the fixes you guys suggested in the last episode. Starting off with, this isn't actually a fix you guys suggested, this is something that I need to do, but cleaning in the orthopedic department is not up to par. Now, there was a suggestion in the comments letting me know how the cleaners worked for the administrative department. So we currently have, do we actually have a cleaning station assigned to that? We do. These guys apparently can be assigned to any room. So we can potentially assign them to here? No. Okay. Maybe we can't. If we go to orthopedic, can we then assign it? No. Okay. I misunderstood how that worked. But if we look at you, assigned rooms, go up here, click on the theater. No, it just doesn't work. Okay. So someone suggested that the cleaners from the administrative department could clean the entire hospital. I'm going to need some more information on how to get that to work, because at the moment, that doesn't seem to be the case. Unless it's in here? No, it's not. Okay, never mind. So in that case, we can pretty simply fix up this orthopedic department with their cleaning issues just by building them out another shelf, because we currently only have one in here. So we'll add another 2 shelves and a couple more bucket carts in there, jump in here and grab some more cleaners for this department. That should be pretty straightforward and easy to do. We have a morning person. You are hired in the morning. And who else have we got? You're 190. That's a little bit too much. You're a fast learner. You'll do. And for the last one, 123 with Kate Young, you're an alcoholic. That is fine. I don't mind if my cleaners have a little bit of a drink on the job or before they get to work. I mean, they're really not dealing with that much in terms of patient safety. I guess they kind of are, to be fair, but that'll be fine. We'll keep an eye on them, make sure they don't come to work drunk too often. Next up is the fact that we are getting critical alerts in our orthopedic department. These are both medium now, which is good now that we've sorted out the event that we had. Everything else looks okay except for our x-ray rooms. And that is at night. I mean, yeah, we could potentially use another patient transfer nurse or 2. How many do we actually have? It's so hard to keep track. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 patient transfer nurses for this whole department. I feel like that should be enough. I feel like that definitely should be enough. Yeah, we're just going to see how that goes. I mean, these are both critical at nighttime, but that's not too bad. As long as we're dealing with it during the day, and this is only medium. Oh, sorry, they're both critical during the day, but at least we're dealing with it at night. This is only medium at night. I think we're getting there. I think we are getting there. The surgeries are all good now. These are both at medium, so that should be absolutely fine. We don't have to worry about that too much. The next fix that we had to make was apparently I missed a wall going to the labs from here. So if we bring up our walls, there it is. I missed the wall. There we go. So we'll throw that back in there. rotate the camera around. It actually updated the back wall as well, which is interesting. That should be that, and this should be that, and that should be good to go. Get the camera oriented back to the right way, and that should be fine. Put the walls down. I believe that is that fix done. And the last final fix is this chair is actually facing the wrong way. But I don't know. I think that'll work. That is now facing that computer. Hopefully, our pharmacist should sit the right way and actually face that computer. So that is fantastic. That is all the fixes done. Next up is going to be building out our infectious diseases unit. And again, we are going to block out this nice little bit of sun that everyone has with some more foundations. I know you guys hate when I do this, but it has to be done. It has to be done. So this is all now foundation, and we can go ahead and build this out. So I'm going to jump into a quick little bit of a time lapse as we figure out a layout for this, and we'll be back in a little bit. And don't worry, if you are following along, I will come back after the fact and show you the room sizes of all of the rooms. So I know we had a couple of questions about that. I'll make sure to do that for you guys this time. So we'll be back in a little bit. All right, so this is the general plan. Let me just go over the sizes with you real quick. We have our receptions, which is standard 6x4. Reception waiting area is 6x7. Our doctor's offices are 5x6. Our bathroom, 6x6. Common area is 6x4. We have a sort of weird sized hematology lab. It's 6x7 with an extrusion that is 3x6 over this side, just so that we can get a door in there. Cleaning cupboard 4x6, diagnostic units are both 4x6 as well as the cardiology. And then we have a giant ward over here that is 18x10, push 3 back from this wall so that we can put the elevators in the corners here. We have nice 2x3 bathrooms along the corridor there. I think that will work out nicely. Our on-call room and nurses' offices are both 9x4. We have a little 2x2 hallway running through here, and our isolation units are going to be 4x4. I hope that that all works out. The next step is to get this all built out and hope that we have enough money. We might have to take out a loan for this, but I am okay with doing that. We should probably also add in the rest of the elevators that we are going to need for this build. Another 2 here and another 2 here, just so that we can keep track of everything. But we're going to jump into the time lapse. I'm going to build those all out before we build the elevators because I'm not sure how much money we will have. And we'll be back in, you guessed it, a little bit. Alrighty, I think that is all the rooms constructed, and I believe everything is in the right place. I don't know if this is how this is meant to work. We've sort of got those isolation walls there. Unfortunately, the doors themselves are 3 wide, but I'm hoping this works just fine. We can also potentially go into, I believe, if we jump into the infectious diseases, these are all going to be misassigned to orthopedic at the moment. We'll fix that in a minute. I believe we can say this is a biohazard area. So if you are coming in here, enter only with protective face mask and gloves. I think that will help people out. And I am also going to put that on the regular ward. It looks like maybe I can't. Maybe we need to reassign all of these things first. So I'll go ahead and do that now in another quick little time lapse. And then we'll see if we can get this biohazard area to work the way that I think it does. So we'll be back in a little bit. Now, if I put that on that ward that is in the infectious diseases area, that works a little bit nicer. And we're going to do that in the doctor's office as well. I'm not 100% sure that that works just because it is restricted from patients. So that should be fine. We should potentially consider doing the entire corridor as well, but I don't know if that's strictly necessary. It might be. We might end up just doing from like here back, actually. So let's do that. That way, if they're coming in here, they need to be wearing mask and gloves. Can we do it in here as well? Yes, we can. Bathroom, why not? These doctor's offices probably won't work just yet. That won't work. These will need to get set up first. So we'll jump back into build mode and get, if we get objects, get all of these doctor's offices and things built out the way that we want them. And then we'll be back to just double check that our restrictions here have worked. So we'll be back in a little bit. All right, in building out this cardiology room, I think it might be too small, so we are just going to increase the size of that one a little bit. We're going to make that, I think 6 by 6 should probably be a little bit better, just for those playing along at home. But that should hopefully help out a little bit here. So I'll continue building this out and we'll be back in a little bit. Okay, so as I am building this room out, this little isolation unit, if I can click on it, it is actually recommending isolation walls, and I think I will end up putting them in. So I'm going to replace all these front-facing ones with isolation walls instead. I feel like that gives the doctors and nurses who are in this area a good chance to have a look in at those patients. So they are 3 wide doors, so we're going to have to figure this out. We might have to actually move this. But that should be okay. We'll go ahead and remove that door and remove... I'm going to leave a section of the wall there and we'll do it like this. And then we can come in to click on the actual room itself and click on the door. And I believe we want it to go that way. And that way everyone will have their own isolated entrance. So we'll go ahead and remove the walls from all of the other rooms here so that they work, and I need to flip these, so I'm gonna have to rebuild these a couple times. This will flip to there fine, I believe, but then we'll have to rebuild them for the others. So that will be there, that will be there, and that will be there, and that should work out a little bit better. I'm not sure if I like these isolation walls here or not, but we'll leave it for the moment and see how it goes. So we should now just be able to go ahead and copy this into there with no issues. There's not going to work, but we can rotate it around to there and there. And then we just need to rebuild this for the other side. So I'll be back as we do a quick little time lapse as I get this room flipped over. All right, and that should be good to go. We can now copy and paste this room to the other 4. I honestly don't know how many of these we need, but that should just about do us for this department. I believe everything is up and running. Everything that is not staff only is requiring mask and gloves, so that is good to see. The next thing we need to do, of course, is go ahead and hire everyone. So we've got all of the rooms. Everything is good there. That should be fine. Let's go ahead and start hiring people. You guys know how this process works, so I'm going to speed through this in a little bit of a time lapse, and we'll be back in a little bit. All right, I believe that is all the hires we need to make. Just to quickly summarize, we have 2 receptionists, 1 for day, 1 for night. We have 2 daytime doctors, 1 nighttime doctor. We have 2 employees hired for the histology lab that is dedicated to this department. That is going to be James Moore and Christopher Scott. We actually got pretty much twins. One just has glasses. They are going to treat both clinic patients and hospitalized patients. We'll keep an eye on that to see how that goes. We hired ourselves 4 janitors. We hired some people to work in the cardiology unit. And then in terms of nurses and doctors, we're starting with 2 patient transfer nurses during the day and night, and 1 patient care nurse during the day and night. And then we have 2 doctors all around. I have no idea, honestly, if that is good or not. We did have to take out a little bit of a loan. We took out a $200,000 loan, but we only used $100,000 of it. We're going to pay this back to $120,000 just so that we have a little bit in the bank. We did also, by opening the that department, we got, where are they? Happy Life. We can now accept patients from Happy Life. We need to treat 5 patients per day at Infectious Diseases. That'll give us $5,000. Hopefully these rewards are quite good. With that said, because we now have a new insurance department, I am actually going to turn off the uninsured patients. Just because they only give you a 90% payout. Our Orthology department is struggling to keep up with the amount of beds that we have, and we have more patients coming through there. So hopefully that is okay. We're going to run the game and see how this handles everything. I'm not 100% sure how well it will do. We do have a little bit of space down here if we need to build another room. We can also move this cleaning cupboard over if we have to. But we'll see how that all goes. So we're going to jump into a little bit of a time lapse. Actually, we might not. Let's have a look at our patient list in infectious diseases. It looks like we already have our first patient, so we can go ahead and follow this patient around. We are going to have them controlled by doctors, but we will take a look at how this person goes. We're going to close everyone else just so that we can keep a track a little bit better. I would like to favorite them. Does that bookmark them? I'm not sure. I know there's a way to bookmark them, but I just can't remember how it is. I believe that is how we do it. And we'll see how this goes. So they are coming into our reception. We will slow down time just a little bit so that we can make sure everything is working fine. They're going to go in to see the doctor, get a speech listening test. See how that goes, if that uncovers any symptoms. Doesn't look like it does. So we'll move on to temperature measurement next. That gives us a fever, so that narrows down our possibilities a little bit. It's either dengue fever, Zika fever, Ebola, or Marburg. None of them sound particularly good. They also have abdominal pain. This sounds honestly pretty terrible. We are missing a couple of things. We can't do CBC. I believe that is because, yep, we are not hospitalized, and we can't do ELISA sampling, and that is also because they have to be hospitalized for that test. They are now going to go for a blood test. We can probably speed that up just a little bit. Give their blood over to the histology lab. We'll wait for those results to come back, see if that narrows this down any more. It looks like the payouts for this are not too bad. We also have some training that's finished. We'll continue that. That's fine. And open you back up and see how this goes. So procedures are finished. Last was blood test. That is fine. They are going to be, what, fulfilling needs? That's fine. I don't know why they were walking so far to go to the bathroom. There was literally one over here, but that is okay. Looks like the blood test didn't bring anything back. We can go ahead and do a differential diagnosis just in hopes that that helps out a little bit. Patient care on there, that's fine. Go ahead and follow you through. Is that going to tell us anything? This is like a... Oh, that narrowed it down a little bit. So it's either Zika fever or Marburg. We need to do CBC sampling to be sure. Oh, actually, we've already ordered RT-PCR. Hopefully that tells us something else. Fingers crossed. And then we can get an accurate diagnosis and treat this specific patient. Looks like we are about to go back to see the doctor with our test results. Charles Foster has leveled up. Advanced diagnostics is fine for you. Waiting quite a long time. We might actually need some more doctor's offices in this department because I feel like there's not going to be that many hospitalizations. We might have overbuilt the ward and not have built enough doctor's offices because she is waiting for a while. Although there isn't anyone in the waiting area, so we might be okay. You can learn anesthesiology. That is fine. So yeah, what is the difference here? If we have a look, it looks like, yeah, this will tell us whether or not it's Zika or Marburg. So this one is also RT-PCR testing, so this should definitely give us a conclusive answer as soon as it is, actually finished, which hopefully doesn't take us too long. Looks like we do have a hospitalized patient down here as well in an isolation ward. What have they got? They've got MERS. I have actually no idea what that is. Apparently it's highly contagious, Middle East respiratory syndrome, also known as camel flu. Highly contagious viral respiratory infection caused by MERS coronavirus. Well, there you go. There you go. So, fingers crossed, this lady gets her test results back, going to lab. And yes, we absolutely have Zika fever. We can go ahead and do that. What is the treatment here? Complex antiviral therapy. We can absolutely do that. We'll prescribe you a couple of other things as well. Is that contagious? No, spread by mosquitoes. So that is fine. Our first patient has been treated in our infectious diseases lab. They need to be hospitalized. Okay. I did not realize that was a thing. Used blah, blah, blah. I feel like you don't need to be hospitalized. But you know what? Surgeries and certain more complicated procedures require prior hospitalization. I feel like this shouldn't require hospitalization, but you know what? If you say so, we can go ahead and uncontrol her. That will be fine. Treat 5 patients is the name of the game. Let's have a look at our patient list for this. Looks like we have quite a few things here. Oh, it looks like she actually has a high hazard. That would be from, I guess, just Zika virus in general. Maybe she needs some more monitoring, but that is okay. Tuberculosis, Q fever, toxoplasmosis, and MERS. So we're going to jump into a time lapse as we treat a bunch of these patients, double check on how all of our stats are going, whether or not these rooms are critical or not, and go from there. So you also don't actually have chronic tonsillitis, you have bacterial tonsillitis. So we'll go ahead and change that up and give you the medication you need. Hopefully you are a little bit happier with that. And we'll jump into the time lapse. Okay, being this was only our first day, but we can see so far none of the rooms in here are at a critical level, which is good to see. We have low, none. So yeah, we should be okay. Medium and low. So yeah, it looks like we might have built enough up in here, but we're going to let this run for another day just to triple check that that is the case. I'm also concerned as to why this hallway isn't being cleaned. We have 3 cleaners designated for that, so they should be cleaning this up. I don't know why they are not. It looks like none of our cleaning employees are actually in at the moment. We'll keep an eye on that as we go through the time lapse, and we'll address it at the end of the time lapse if it is still a problem. Alright, it is now 7 AM on day 22, and we do have a critical workload at night. I'm not 100% sure why that would be the case. It looks like we might need to hire some more people for our histology lab in here. I am more than happy to do that. We are going to go for advanced biochemists just so that they can hopefully work a little bit quicker. They are going to be more expensive, of course, but they should be a little bit more efficient. So for those of you who don't know, advanced biochemistry just increases the effectiveness of laboratory tests, which is a good thing in general. So we're going to hire 2 more people for that. I did put 2 sets of equipment in here, so that shouldn't be a problem. Hopefully that addresses that issue. Everything seems to be running pretty smoothly. We should get the treat 5 patients per day at infectious diseases done today, but we will be back once that pops or once we hit the end of the day just to assess how this new department is handling everything. There we go. That really didn't take very long at all. We got 5 patients treated. I imagine that was all the hospitalized patients that have gone home. We have enabled hospitalization at Infectious Diseases. That gives us another $10,000. So we can now go ahead and pay back a little bit of this loan. We now only owe $60,000, which is good to see. We should be able to pay that back relatively quickly. If we have a look at our budget, we did just get $9,445 from patients that were hospitalized. So that department should now be profitable. We now need to successfully finish 3 epidemic events. That sounds difficult. I hope at least that is going to give us something good. Increased clinic patients. Really? That is unfortunate. We also have an event active at the moment, which gives us 20% less patients, but that is what it is. Hopefully it allows this department to start running smoothly before everything else catches up. We have someone coming back with incorrect diagnosis, and we can no longer just choose Influenza B because Influenza A is an infectious disease. So we are going to have to actually diagnose these patients now rather than just knowing what they have. You definitely have lactose intolerance. I can tell you that much. So we're going to jump back into the time lapse and get a whole bunch of these patients treated and out the door and make sure that this is all running smoothly. So we'll be back in a little bit. All right, we have no clear diagnosis for Sarah Hernandez. She either has Influenza A or Influenza B. The only thing that we can do is order serological sampling and potentially do a differential diagnosis. I don't think we can do serologic sampling in the emergency because under sampling it says patient must be hospitalized first, can be ordered at any department except emergency. So we're going to have to send her to Infectious Diseases and go ahead and get her some serological sampling, which is going to require hospitalization, I believe. Yes. So we'll hospitalize her, test her for that, and hopefully that works out. I'm hoping that the doctors will automatically send them to this department in order to get tested for that, but I'm not actually sure if they will, or if we're going to have to do that manually every single time, which is kind of annoying. Still no clear diagnosis, but we haven't actually done that sampling yet, so hopefully they just figure that out themselves, and that should be good. So we'll jump back into the time lapse. Hopefully that all works out. I'll come back if it doesn't, and we'll see you at the end of the day. All right, our beds are already filling up in the Infectious Diseases Department. That is not great considering it's only 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Looks like we might have overbuilt in terms of our isolation rooms. That doesn't seem to be as necessary as I thought it might be. So that's unfortunate. I really thought this might be enough, but it's not even close. And there's no real easy way to fix that. Well, there kind of is. Okay, we're going to go jump back into build mode. These 4 rooms here are going to go away, and I'm going to replace them with... Can I only get 4 beds in there? Because that goes to the middle. So yeah, I think I can only get 4 beds, maybe 6 if I only have a 1 wide hallway, but I don't really want to have a 1 wide hallway. So yeah, I'm going to jam another 4 beds in here. Well, I actually might have to redesign this whole thing. So I might have the beds come through this way, door in the middle, and I might be able to get an extra bed in just... No, it's still going to be the same. Is it? I don't actually know. Let's get a quick measurement out. Is this square? No, it's not. So if I do my beds along this wall here and this wall here and have a walkway down the middle, I think that will work. So I'll be back in a little bit. I'm going to do a quick little time lapse as I rearrange this entire area, which is always fun to do. And we'll be back in a little bit. All right, it's definitely tight, but we managed to get it in. They don't have the best privacy in this ward, but you know what? It works. It works. I don't love it, but it works. And that is the main thing. We're going to put windows there so that our nurses can see into this ward. Hopefully that helps out a little bit with this feeling, you know, super, super closed in. But they technically have the same amount of room as everyone else. And this is all correctly assigned. We just need to reassign this as yellow. This should all be yellow as well, just so that everyone in the Infectious Diseases Department has masks and gloves on. See, we already have 2 of those beds filled, but we have now 6, 12, 16 beds. Hopefully that's okay. I'm really hoping that it is. It might not be. We're only getting 83 patients a day at the moment because of this thing, so I'm a little bit concerned that this is not enough. It looks like we also need to add some more patient transfer nurses in. I really didn't expect this department to be quite this busy. We do have enough money to hire 2 more of these guys. We're going to, of course, go for the early bird with fast and just like a random negative trait. Seems to be the best way to do this. We'll go for long commute for you. And you guys are both only on patient transfer. That gives us 3 at all times. I think I'm actually going to go ahead and add in a 4th. We need to get a little bit more of a loan to be able to complete that. But that is a-okay with me. And you can be a slow learner because it really doesn't matter that much. You are only moving patients around, and that should hopefully help. We still have access to everything that we need to have access to. This should potentially be a biohazard door because they are technically going into the infectious isolation wards, but they have... it should be fine. It should be fine. I think I am, however, going to replace this door and window here. If I can find them. That's actually an object, not a thing. So we click that, delete, and then put a double biohazard door in there, which is going to require a wall. It should be like so. It doesn't really matter what it is because we're going to hide it with a door anyway. And put that like there. That should hopefully work out a little bit better. And hopefully these beds also don't fill up, but it looks like they might. We already have 5 out of 6 patients in this new little ward section. I'm a little bit concerned about how many patients we have. How is our orthopedy doing? They're almost empty. Okay. Okay. That's interesting. That is very interesting. Yeah. Let me know how we can address this problem. Is building our next department going to help cut back the patients in here, or am I just being a little bit silly at this point? All right, you have Lassa fever. You need antivirals. Why can I not prescribe antivirals? You need an IV infusion. That is why. You need to be hospitalized. We can send you to isolation, even though this isn't, particularly infectious because it's spread by the rats. But you can still use an isolation bed to get that done. So that works for me. Oh, no. Oh, we have our first epidemic event. Epidemic outbreak. An infectious patient wasn't hospitalized in an isolation unit, and as a result, as part of your hospital has been infected. Staff must now wear face masks and will work slowly. That is unfortunate. We have an Ebola outbreak in our hospital. That is definitely not good. You should definitely go to isolation as soon as possible. The fact that you weren't sent there is concerning to me. My doctors should know better than to put an Ebola patient in a general ward, but I guess they don't. So that's always fun. We're going to go into a time lapse, see how this pans out. I am a little bit concerned for our hospital's well-being. Looks like our cleaning is slowly but surely getting done up here. We still might need to hire another one, to be honest with you. This is orthopedy. We'll go ahead and build them another shelf in here. I believe that can go there. We don't actually need to use that cabinet. It's more decorative. And we'll throw in a couple more bucket carts and grab ourselves some more cleaners for this department because apparently they need a lot of them. We'll go for you and we'll go for you. And hopefully that helps out just a little bit. So we'll be back in a little bit and we'll see you then. All right, we still have a critical workload in the histology lab at night. So I am actually going to add a third computer in here. I'm not going to worry about doubling up on our equipment again. Hopefully they can just sort of figure it out amongst themselves. So we'll add a computer in there. We don't have any money. Pause the game, get a bit more of a loan. Bed required for examination. Yep, that's fair. We knew that. We'll jump in here, grab ourselves that computer that we wanted, throw that down right about there, add a stool, and go ahead and hire the best people that we can possibly hire because apparently these guys are struggling. You're not the best, but you're pretty cheap, so we'll take you. And another advanced biochemist would be nice. Let's see what your traits are. You're not bad. 86 and 10, I will take it. You're not too expensive. I know I just said we were going to hire the best we can, but we had two pretty decent candidates at a low price, so we'll take that. We have our first patient collapse in the infectious disease. You have severe dehydration. You need to be hospitalized, but we don't have any regular hospitalization. We also don't have access to ICU because you don't have a diagnosis yet. So we are going to send you to isolation just to see how that goes. And then, oh, you're actually going to the trauma center. Okay. We have a long wait for regular hospitalization with rabies. My goodness, we have so many problems. You can go to isolation with the rabies. That should be... We might actually need more doctors for that. We have a lot of patients, so I think maybe hiring some more doctors for this, and actually some more patient care nurses as well, because we only have 2 of those, might be the solution to our problems here. I hope. So we'll grab another 2 doctors here. Who is good? Who is good? You are okay. You're expensive. You're not bad. You're depressed, which is not good. So yeah, Charles Martin, you're in. And we'll go ahead and hire some more patient care nurses. We're going to get clinical nurse specialists because they help in revealing appearance of patients' symptoms, which is going to be helpful for diagnosis. We have, you are fantastic, Elizabeth. And we will grab someone else as well. Looks like Sarah Young is going to be in, and these guys are strictly to do patient care. Hopefully that helps. I hope it does. If it doesn't, I'm going to need you guys to let me know in the comments down below what we should be adding to this department to make it run that little bit more efficiently. Because I really don't like sending patients away, but sometimes it just has to be done. We also have these guys in training, which, you know, they will be used at some point in the ICU. We're just getting them up to as high as we can. This person, Kate Thomas, needs to be sent to Infectious Diseases, and she's going to be sent, unfortunately, to isolation, and then we can go ahead and get serologic sampling done on her to determine whether or not she has influenza A or B. I really miss the days where we could just say, hey, you definitely have B, because it was so much simpler. All right, we have our workload statistics here. It looks like our infectious disease department is doing okay. We still have 1 critical room somewhere, and it is the nighttime in our, whatever this room is, the hematology lab. So we can go ahead and fix that by adding some more hematology scientists in here. I think that will be fine. We'll add 1 for the day and the night because this is high. So I think that will be okay. We'll grab you in, and we will grab, yeah, you'll do. And these guys are servicing both clinic and hospitalized patients, so that is fine. Hopefully that all works out. I am going to fast forward until all of our patients currently in, where'd they all go? Did they all get sent home during the nighttime? Oh no, they're still there. They're still there. Just none of them are in their beds for some reason. I'm going to fast forward until all of these guys get sent home, see how our profits are doing from that point, and go from there. All right, we'll get to 8:30. That will mean everyone is officially out the door. We have no clear diagnosis yet. We know. We already sent you for a test. We're just waiting for the results. It is officially day 23 at 8:30. We made... Jeez, Louise, that's not great. Our profits from cardiology went way down. Compared to yesterday, we made $37,000 in that department. Today, I know we've only just started the day, but that's rough. The good news is we did make $12,000 with our Infectious Diseases Department, so it is actually making money. We've got 1 day left on the Epidemic outbreak, so we might let that run for the one last day, see how that event goes. I imagine successfully finishing it, I don't know what the requirements for doing that are, but I imagine it's just making it through without your hospital imploding on itself. We can go ahead and pay down this loan just a little bit. So I'm going to fast forward until the end of this day at midnight. We'll come back day 24 midnight and see how everything is going. Okay, that's fine. You can deal with yourself. So yeah, we'll come back at the end of the day, double check how everything is going in here. I will, of course, pause if anything major happens. But otherwise, I will see you at the end of the day and we'll be back in a little bit. All right, it is almost midnight, but we have officially finished training our first fully fledged employee. This person has 100% in patient care and 100% in clinical nurse specialist. She is only getting paid $244 a day, which is super cheap, but we now need to reassign her to where she's actually going to work, which is honestly probably going to be the ICU. We'll set her up there and we will make sure that she is not doing patient transfers because she is too good for that, and that will be fine. We can go ahead and send, honestly, probably Margaret Martin. We're going to reassign her down to the sexual health clinic, and we will have her, instead of doing these things and this, we'll put her back on clinical nurse specialist, and we will start training her up instead. And then at some point, she can move back to the ICU. But if we jump back into the ICU, we can now go ahead and actually need to move you over to there. That'll be fine. We don't have anyone transferring patients at night, so you can actually do that. I lied. But we'll keep an eye on that. And if we need more patient transfer nurses, we can take her off that at some point. We have no rooms with critical workload during the day, so that is fantastic. Only 5 idle rooms too, which is good to see. We're going to skip ahead till midnight and see how our money's doing. It doesn't look like it's going to be fantastic, but we'll double check on that, make sure this epidemic worked well, and go from there. All right, all our staff health has returned to normal. We survived the epidemic outbreak. Click OK, and that doesn't count as that event. That must be these events. That is kind of unfortunate. Let's check how our money did yesterday. We only made 19,000 compared to the day before we were made 40. That is mostly due to our orthopedic department making absolutely no money yesterday. And I don't actually know why, apart from the fact that we just don't have patients in here. We are down to 83 patients per day with our insurance companies. We maybe should go ahead and re-enable the uninsured people. They will send 20 a day. That gets us back up to 107. We also have a problem with our prestige. This is currently at 72 for today, 73 yesterday. Patient intake is down to 83%, which is again probably why we're seeing that decrease in patients. I'm not 100% sure why these are lower than they have been. They've been 5 stars the whole time. So please let me know in the comments why this is the case and how we can fix it, because I definitely want to be able to fix it. With that being said, I think this is a good ending point for the episode. If you guys have any tips on how to handle the Infectious Diseases Department, that would be fantastic. If you have any ideas on how to increase our prestige, because that has never been an issue before, I would also love to hear that down in the comments, or just leave a comment for the sake of engagement. Make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Consider becoming a member. Golden Panda members get their name in the game as ideally a hospital lead if we have the room for it. Otherwise, you'll get your name in the game somewhere else. And with all that being said, until next time, happy building, happy doctoring. Bye, guys.